Lonely pop bumpers. I'm Pinball Shit, and this is a list of pinball machines that only have one pop bumper. I wouldn't say this is a my favorites video, and I haven't played all of these, but I scoured the internet pinball database and looked at all the pins that only have one pop bumper. And this is a list I put together about the 10 most interesting ones. Number 10. Genco Mercury. Single pop bumpers have always been a thing. I'm starting the list with one from the beginning of pinball history, a 1950 wood rail. Mercury and Rocket have identical designs, with 10 kick-out holes and a slanted line across the playfield. Above these was a single pop bumper, which Genco called a power bumper. Although Williams had the first pop bumpers marketed as thumper bumpers on Saratoga in 1948 and the first solo pop bumper in 1949 on Phoenix, Genco really believed in the solo pop bumper, trying it at least 5 times. Number 9. Gottlieb Jungle. This one has a few variations: Jungle Life, Jungle King, Wildlife, depending on how many players it supports and if it has replays and the animal art. This one contains what I call a solo pop rubber room, which I never use in conversation. In this case, exits on top and bottom. I've seen it on Craigslist before, but I wasn't interested in it because of the price. I later played it at a convention. I don't think it's too fun, but it's really satisfying hitting that shot. Number 8. Hollywood Heat. This one's interesting because it's a captive ball only bumper. You can only hit the 4 target by hitting off this bumper. This pop bumper wasn't always alone. The whitewood of Hollywood Heat had 2 pop bumpers and no captive ball. Look at that thing go. Number 7. Gottlieb High Hand. Now there's starting to be a pattern. A lot of Gottliebs, and there will be more. High Hand came out in 1973, designed by Ed Krinsky. There were over 8,000 of these produced, and I usually see High Hand or one of its variants, Top Hand, or Captain Card at pinball conventions, often tournaments. It has a skillful plunge into the inlanes that feed to the lone pop bumper, and then there's a chance on that pop to get drop targets down. It's a fun one. Number 6. Big Shot. Another 70s Gottlieb, another hit by good old Ed. This one has the same skillful plunge to the inlanes, to the pop bumper, bounce to the drops. My favorite thing about Big Shot is shooting the drops, because there's so many and hitting them might result in a bounce to the pop bumper and thus another chance at drop target hits. Love it. 13,000 of these made. Some say this pop bumper inspired Billy Joel. Let's listen. Number 5. Pinball Magic. Capcom made this one in 1995. This area is called the Start Pit. It's a solo pop rubber room with a slingshot on the bottom side. There's a lot of potential for extended bumping in here. Each time it pops, the light on top of it flashes. Sadly, this is the last appearance of the solo pop bumper. It's been 22 long years, and I fear we may never see another. Number 4. Gottlieb Derby Day. Another wood rail, this one designed by Wayne Nyens in 1956. This one was daring. Wayne really pushed the envelope. His boss allocated him 1 pop bumper, 1 real pop bumper, and you know what he did with it? He said, I know where the fun is. The fun is the drain, the near drain experiences. I'm going to make a Mondo-sized drain with 1 lone pop bumper defending it. This gimmick would be used at least once more on the first 100 units of Bally Freedom. Comment below if you know of any other uses of bumpers near the drain. Derby Day contains a few passive bumpers, or scoring bumpers. Onto a little side topic. I found 58 machines on IPDB that were listed as having 1 pop bumper. I reduced the 58 to these 10. But 15 of the pins were like Derby Day, single pop bumpers among many scoring bumpers. I chose not to include many of these. Williams and Chicago Coin made a few each in the 50s, none using the pop bumper too interestingly. Stern made Meteor and 9-Ball, which each have one pop bumper and a few scoring bumpers, both designed by Steve Kirk. Number 3. Monte Carlo. I think this one's awesome because of how the pop bumper is the centerpiece of the roulette playfield art. Nordamatic was a short-lived Italian company that made 10 pins in the 70s. Number 2. F-14 Tomcat. This is the game that inspired me to make this list. I was playing on Pinball Arcade and I was wondering what pins had the best use of the single pop bumper. F-14 uses it pretty well. It's nestled in the upper playfield between 2 flippers and below 6 Tomcat targets. Spelling Tomcat lights a lock, but there's another cooler mechanic with them called Hot Streak. After an orbit shot, Hot Streak will start a timer. Shooting any Tomcat target will score a progressive point bonus and reset the timer. So being able to strategically use that bumper to keep the ball up there hitting the targets is really fun. In the following clip, Andrei Masenkov wins the World Championship off scoring points from this strategy. The clips will be Josh Sharp's first 2 balls where he has decent attempts, and then Andrei's 3rd ball where he blows it out of the water.
Josh Sharp, again, if Josh wins this game, or Kaylee or Adam, they will be the champ.
And if they don't, they'll be the chimp.
Picking up
the chump.
A little bit of points up here in the upper playfield. You get a feature called Hot Streak going if you can get up there, and but the games have not been nice to him at all.
He said to the game, "You're not going to let me play," and F4 Tomcat rarely lets anybody play. He's never let me play, I'll tell you that right now.
Here's Josh taking over ball 2, and we're again having some trouble seeing the game. Oh! Kaylee will, he'll have another turn.
Gotta shake it up, on to the next ball.
There's only one more ball left for all players as Andrei Masenkov takes over his ball 3. He's racking up some bonus. He's got the 3rd lock lit, and that would be serious. If he can get into multi-ball, we could see him run away with it right here.
Well, he loved keeping the ball up high there. It doesn't stay up there for long. This is a hard game to keep the ball in the upper playfield, but he was getting some nice target shots,
and
he's got that lock lit
on the right there.
Number 1. Gottlieb Target Pool. This is my favorite one to play from the list. Another Gottlieb designed by Ed Krinsky in 1969. Ed truly embraced the solo pop bumper. If you skillfully plunge into the 7 in lane, you light the pop bumper for 100 points. There's also a chance on the first pop to bounce back up through the in lane and down another. While you are in the upper half of the playfield, you can attempt to nudge and keep the ball bouncing all around, off the slingshots, to the targets, and back to the pop bumper and big points. Well, that was my list of the top 10 pinball machines that I think are interesting that only have one pop bumper. And of course, I couldn't have done this without the Internet Pinball Database. So thanks for existing and remember to back up. I didn't take any of these photos. Special mention to Bagatelle. This one's a mini pinball machine with full-size flippers and a single pop bumper. The playfield is 14.5 inches long by 9 inches wide. It was made by Henk de Jager. Did I miss a favorite of yours? Comment below and tell us about it. Thanks for watching my first attempt at a top 10 list. I'm sure there's hundreds of other topics I can cover. If you have any ideas, let me know. And be sure to like and subscribe to see more pinball shit.